Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're still ahead on LTV International Hour, today's edition of Breakfast Show. And first, we're going to discuss today about the latest measurable development on Gaza Strip as Israel began yesterday, very early morning, its ground offensive, less than 24 hours after the Islamic Arabic Summit of Doha. To understand what's going on, and of course that was amid or after the short visit of the Secretary of State of the U.S., Marco Rubio, to Israel, in which he actually assured the unwavering support to their ally. Did he get the carte blanche, or what we call it, the green card, again from the U.S. for that ground offensive after the Arabic Islamic Summit, after this visit, and after the ultimate of the President Donald Trump to Hamas, pointing out with his finger like this to Hamas that this is the last warning to even surrender their weapons or to release the hostages of Israel. To understand the controversial of the situation, we're most delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Hassan Wageeh, Professor of International Relations. Professor Hassan, it's a very great morning to you and a great pleasure having you with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, but could you raise your voice a little bit, please?
Yes, I would. First of all, let's start concerning the, as Israel began yesterday its ground offensive in Gaza, after the short visit of the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio to Israel, shoulder to shoulder. Marco Rubio was with Netanyahu. So the question here, did he get the carte blanche or the green light again from Marco Rubio or from the states for that ground offensive? And less than 24 hours after the Arabic Islamic Summit of Doha. Can you elaborate, please, on this?
Oh, yes. Of course, this would tell us how compatible the two agendas, the American agenda and the Israeli agenda, regarding what is going on. They have fixed frames. This is the role of the United States should be reconsidered, because this is unfair support, absolute support for genocide, for starvation, for famine. If you listen to the voices, fair-minded voices all over the world, they will tell the American administration the same kind of statement. This is unfair. You know, we haven't seen before a country which say Gaza will be burned altogether. Yep. We can't imagine what kind of language, what kind of zero-sum mentality is being deployed, which would serve no one in the final analysis. And as I've already mentioned previously, in previous context, it is a self-defeating strategy for Israel, so long as they don't want to behave themselves in this area.
Yeah, let me, Professor Hassan, take from out of your answer here, which kind of language we're supposed to use? The language of justice, the language of the international law. As yesterday, the UN investigation team had made a decision on Gaza, and they concluded that Israel committed genocide, from 4 to 5 genocide in Gaza, and referring back to the Rwanda genocide in 1994. So, can you please tell me your take on this? When we're going to implement the international justice or the international law, as Israel simply just denying the genocide and just saying no, it didn't happen, and what's gone on the ground, and killing and bombardment more than 60,000 persons in Gaza, renewing and destroying the whole city of Gaza, making the expansion of the West Bank, and yesterday bombarding also the Hodeidah in Yemen. So, which kind of language, which kind of the international justice and international law?
Of course, what we are witnessing is an era of zero-sum mentality, cowboy logic, power greed, realpolitik when it comes with no ethics at all. Because I think that, yes, when you have the United Nations and there is a big gathering will take place very soon with all the leaders of the world, over 190 states will be there. And we have already listened to the press conference conducted by the General Secretary Guterres, and the man is eager to have enforcement, but he already condemned it with the strongest word, the genocide, the famine, and he came up with one word: we will seek solutions. You know, I think that there is a growing anger, a growing dissatisfaction, but inaction, unfortunately, by the international community. There is a real problem with the international community that made even Dr. Guterres once said that the United Nations organization, he said that once before. He said that the United Nations is suffering a collapse because it is the story of the League of Nations. League of Nations collapsed, and because of a third world war took place. And we are not far away from that now. So he warned the entire world. And this needs enforcement. You have to have enforcement for law. You have to have enforcement for justice. And I think that it is not now a collective thing to be done, but I believe that the growing pressure will continue. We have seen things that unprecedented before. We have seen Spain, for instance, took palpable steps. European Union is doing the same thing in a very small scale, but this could grow, and it should grow. I mean, there should be some kind of putting an end to this zero-sum mentality. This is chaos. This is get us to a very, very unfavorable human era where people kill each other to live, which is inhuman, injustice, and terrible. And I think that all fair-minded people in the world now, there is a wake-up call. And you know, when we are talking about the Arab Islamic Summit, which you mentioned, and you mentioned that the Israeli after that didn't care, but again, the summit, despite the fact that it did not create palpable measures, but also it created a sense of, especially when it comes to the speech of the president. Yeah. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi made a very, very strong and very well-balanced speech warning the entire world.
But it was, the rhetoric was totally different of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi this time towards Israel and towards the public of Israel as well.
I beg your pardon, could you raise your voice? The voice?
Yes.
Some problem with the voice, yes.
Can you hear me now, Professor Hassan?
Yes,
yes.
Barely.
I was talking about the rhetoric of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi within his speech in front of this summit this time. It was totally different, totally strong, with rage towards Israel and the public of Israel.
Yes, I think that the speech was so well balanced and very strong and to the point, and raising an issue that when you are addressing the Israeli people without their leadership, it means that this leadership really out of calculations, because they went out of mind when they are doing crazy
things. Because they are manipulating the Israeli public as well.
Greed all the time.
Yes.
I beg your pardon?
Yes, because the Israeli administration is actually manipulating also the life of the Israeli public as well, not only the peace process or the security of the whole region.
Yes, they are carrying out very fake arguments, very weak arguments, but it makes sense for those people who did not probe into their arguments and refuted their arguments could be torpedoed easily when it comes to fair-minded judgments. And I think that to add to that, the speech also called for some kind of putting some implementational steps from the side of the international community, and I think this will grow, despite the fact that the situation is not that very optimistic and not very as we would like to see as a human being living on this planet. Yes, but it is growing a pressure, and it will continue to grow definitely, because what is happening is outrageous famine, outrageous crazy language, outrageous aimless military operation in the final analysis, because that is what some Israeli leaders in the army said themselves.
Yes. Professor Hassan, let's zoom a little bit in about the controversial stance of the U.S. The USA had given carte blanche to Israel to bombard or to attack Qatar. And a couple of days ago, after the short visit or the brief state visit of the Secretary of State to Tel Aviv, he'd been to Doha, and he assured once again that the U.S. is appealing on Qatar to stay as a mediator for the peace process. Can you just even elaborate on this? And on the time being, Rubio is also just stating that there is a small window still just open for the peace process in Gaza. And after his short visit, the Israel started began the ground offensive. What's controversial to understand?
I think that yes, the Qatari wants to continue their efforts to mediate, but at the same time they considered what happened as a state terrorism, and no official person received Rubio in the airport, and that was a gesture of being angry, of being dissatisfied from the role of the United States, despite the fact that there is a very close relationship and strategic relationship with Qatar and the United States. And it is in the area, but our Qatari brothers are angry also. But again, they, as I've mentioned once, there is a book called Negotiating Without Giving In. I think this is a spirit that is being there to get all things back on the right track, the diplomatic track, the talk track, the negotiating track, because the philosophy of having negotiation under fire and under power and under shelling, I think this is obliterates the trust, obliterates the end result of any negotiation. I don't think this is a correct thing, but this is being adopted by both the United States American administration and the Israeli administration. I think this is wrongful track, and I think that, and I hope that the United States will have a wake-up call to reconsider their plans and their moves and change them. And because even there should be something to be said in that. This kind of religiosity and mixing religion with politics and trying to operationalize prophecies is growing in the United States, but also in the United States there is a growing party who really wants to say, stop, enough is enough. This is not the correct way of operationalizing religion with politics. This will get the whole world into hell, into fights, into continuous suffering. I don't think this is correct. I think that the correct thing is that moderate religion, they have been telling us about moderate religion and reforming the religious discourse. They are supposed to be the first to do the reform of the religious discourse, which ignited wars, which ignited killing of people, which really justified killing of innocent human beings. The result is about, as you have said, it's not 65,000 people were killed. In another statistic, there is a statistic to say 100,000, maybe 130 in another statistic. So this is unbelievable. This is intolerable for any human being who is really mind what they are up to.
Yes, and who actually watched the receive of Donald Trump yesterday in UK, as he is now conducting a state's visit to the UK, how it been received with demonstrations everywhere that he's not welcome in the UK, and they want to end war, and they are calling for ceasefire, the British citizens overall. And all the nations nowadays, they are all calling for peace and for ceasefire, but actually the American administration, they are not listening. They are only just giving the carte blanche always to the ultimate ally to do whatever they like, and to continue with the escalation in the whole region. I mean, in the same time, they are beginning ground offensive in Gaza, expanding settlements in the West Bank, bombardment in the Hodeidah in Yemen, before in Iran, and afterwards also in Syria. So I mean, it's like it's really the U.S., the game changer, could really just in a second do this. But why they are manipulating the whole peace process in the region, why they are manipulating the relations with the Arabic world in favor only of Israel? Can you please just analyze this?
Yes, I'm listening.
Yes, doctor, didn't you hear me?
Yes, do you hear me?
Yes, now yes.
Okay.
Did you hear my question?
Yeah, I contemplate in your statement, right?
Yes, please.
Yes, actually, when it comes to the UK visit,
Yes.
you can see demonstration with the slogan, "You are not welcome anymore." You can see Save Gaza. You can see other statements, really harsh words. That is really natural reaction to a country that is blindly and unjustly supporting genocide, supporting famine, supporting killing of innocents. In the final analysis, this is not right. And I think that the gunboat diplomacy, as you have already mentioned, fights everywhere and shooting people everywhere. I don't think that people could shoot back when it comes to another international war, another third war. You know, late President Carter, who really were capable, rightful person, who really achieved much in the area,
process, yes.
in the Middle East, who warned the United States against this gunboat diplomacy. He warned them against this policy of zero-sum mentality, of using violence and wars. And, you know, America did not achieve victory in so many of these wars, by the way.
Yes.
So it is futile, it is useless, and they could be defeated further. Why do you would like to do that? And he mentioned the comparison between them and China.
Yep.
China kept itself to build a strong economy. The United States net exhaustive economy, yes, exhaustive power, and hate all over the world. I mean, who is winning now?
Yeah, because nowadays they are supporting war, unfortunately, and weaponizing Israel and Ukraine. Anyway, I mean, for the administration of the U.S., they has to consider to refer back to the great U.S. presidents like Carter, as you mentioned, and like Bill Clinton, who had really achieved great and milestones for the peace process in the Middle East region and for the whole world. Dr. Hassan Wageeh, Professor of International Relations, many thanks for being with us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, short break and we'll be right back.